Alright guys, hopefully everything's going well for you guys today. I am running a bit behind and slightly flustered because I forgot to do multiple things, but we're here and we're going to make the best of it. So today I am going to be building Star and Stripe. That is, if you were not on the last live stream, we designed and built this rocket. This is named Star and Stripe. It is for the 250th anniversary of America. So you can see it's got those stars and the blue, the stripes, the red. This is actually supposed to be white. So it's got a white tip as well. And I know there's too many stripes. I need to change that a little bit. So there's 14 stripes. But other than that, this is the America rocket. And then it has a cluster of 3 engines, which I think is really cool because if you buy 29mm Aerotech engines, you can get Blue Thunder, Red Line, and White Lightning to create red, white, and blue flames, which is really cool. I really like the idea. I got it from you guys in the last stream. You guys did an amazing job giving me that idea. So I'm very happy with that. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I have not cut anything yet, so I'm just going to show all the pieces off. We've got the main fin can. I still need to remove the supports, and then motor tubes, those need to be cut. The upper tube, which needs to be cut. The booster tube, which needs to be cut, and then the pieces for the transition, which need to be supports removed. And then finally the nose cone, which has that nice white tip. So this is what you would get in a kit, plus a few other things, obviously. None of these are cut. So on today's live stream, we're going to be cutting these tubes, starting to glue things together, and then I'm also going to laser cut the centering rings. So let me go grab a pair of pliers and I'll be right back. All right, the one thing I forgot to grab was a trash can to put the supports in, and then a pair of pliers to actually, oops. Gotta put the mic back on. But the one thing I forgot to grab was the pair of pliers to cut the supports, and then a trash can, which is just a box, to actually put them all in. So let's get started with removing the supports. And just a side note, I like to use this clear Gorilla Glue for my, like basically gluing everything. It'll either be clear Gorilla Glue or epoxy. Those are the 2 main glues I use. So this works really well for putting together kits. Like I said, let's start with removing the supports. I'm going to zoom this thing in. Artificially. And then we can get started on actually removing those supports. So this will be interesting because it is the fragile piece of the fin can. So we'll see. And let me know what you guys think of the music. If it's good enough, too loud, not loud enough, whatever. I'm trying a new chat setup, so we shall see if that works. And this is just Mark 1, so there's probably going to be some things wrong with it. Right off the bat, I'm realizing that the extrusion for the lettering is a bit too deep. So right now it's extruded to be 2 millimeter. I think I will change that to be 1 millimeter. Or I might indent it. We shall see. How is that on the music? It'll probably be kind of quiet. Okay. I can bump it up a tiny bit. That should be maybe good, I think. But I don't want it to overpower my voice, obviously. It's just for ambiance. Back down. How's that? That song ended, but seems like I have to change it every single time I stream. Alright, so that lettering definitely will need to be cleaned up, and like I said, I think, honestly, indenting it might be the play, that way I don't have to support it. But there's the lettering for now, so we can start on the stars, and the stars will be interesting because I already know that I put too many on here, too many of the smaller ones, which will make removing the supports very tedious / annoying. But that's why we do tests. So today's live stream, guys, if you're just tuning in, is going to be building Star and Stripe, which is the rocket that we designed in the last stream, the last live stream. And then next live stream will probably be painting it and finishing it up, or I'll do that over off stream, and then after that it'll probably be flying the thing. So I'll probably stream a little bit earlier, that way it's not dark outside, and go fly this thing. I will say that if you use 329mm Aerotech engines, that's going to send this thing really high. So I might start out with some smaller Estes engines just for actually the maiden flight, because 3Es will, I think 3 E12s from Estes will still take this thing like 1,000 feet in the air, which is kind of insane. But we shall see. I'll have to redo the Sims once it's fully built. I need a pokey thing. Yeah, there's the first fin of stars. Definitely, I should probably peel back up some on the smaller ones, even though they look cool. There's just a few too many in some of the spots, like right there and stuff, because we want these to be pretty strong, and right now they're really flexible, just because I have so many stars on there. So we will see how that flies. So far, it seems pretty sturdy enough, but we will see. It's also really hot in this garage. I'm going to announce real quick that I'm live. I've been live for a little bit, but just make an announcement. I'm launching these supports everywhere. I think this white filament needs to be dried. It's pretty brittle. At least the supports are. Hey, Minty. I think this will take probably about an hour. I've got to finish removing the supports from this fin can, which is almost done, so I just got to clean it up a bit. My sister just bought me a fan, so thank you very much for that. That feels nice. And then I've got to cut these tubes. So this motor tube needs to be cut, and then these bigger tubes need to be cut. And then glue everything together and let it sit, basically. So probably my goal is an hour. So let's see, I started streaming at like 9:55, so 10:55. No later than 11 though. But yeah. Thanks. I like this music too. It's just like Celtic tavern and music. So, but it makes for good ambiance. So, plus that way, when I'm not talking, like when I'm focused on something, you guys are not just left with complete silence. That was weird. The screen just went black for a second. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Okay. I have broken a rocket before with taking off supports. It did not go great, but generally, no, it's mostly fine. Why is this camera not working? Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. The app I was using completely fried itself. Alright, give me a second. There we go. Okay. We're back. Technical difficulties. I got a new camera recently from a friend, so I'll have to use... I haven't set it up yet, but I will definitely be using that for next stream, because it's a really nice camera. So thank you to MindT, shout out there, for the Insta360 or 3. It's such an amazing camera, but I have not set it up yet. All right, so the supports are removed from the fin can. You can see there's the 1776. I think that might be backwards for you guys. Or maybe it's right. I don't know. 1776, 250th anniversary, Aero Dragon Labs. But yeah. So the fin can's done. Let's move on to taking off the supports for this. And see, now that's how your supports are supposed to come off. Just one clean strip, and there you go. It says Star and Stripe. Yep. So rocket name, Star and Stripe, and then these will just come off like that. Yep. Perfect. So this will go inside here. And then this goes in the back end there, and you've got your connector. This will then go into the end of the booster tube, which this will slide over. And then this end slides into, not this one specifically because it's a slightly different tube, but this will slide into here. And then obviously the nose cone on top. It's not plural because it's a reference to a form of media that I really like. And if I don't know, I personally like the name Star and Stripe. You're the first person to say that it should be plural, stars and stripes, which makes sense. So I might just send it without these words at all. That way you guys can put whatever name you want on it. I don't know. We'll see. I personally like the name Star and Stripe. I think it just fits a rocket better than stars and stripes. But I don't know. So now I think after I clean up this mess, we can move on to cutting. Do you guys think we should laser cut the bulkheads first, or cut the tubes? All right. So should we laser cut the bulkheads first, or cut the tubes to the right length? Okay. All right. Yeah. Laser cutting sounds like a vibe. So I'm just gonna measure out the length for these first, and then we can start laser cutting. So 6 inches on these shorter tubes. Which this is exactly perfectly 6 inches, just barely. So I'm gonna basically just clean up the end on that one, and then for this one, 6 inches is right there, and then another 6 inches after that is almost the whole tube. So right there and right there, effectively. All right, that's that tube. Now we need 8 inches. This is a terrible tape measure. Nonetheless, we want 8 inches on this tube. So after I'm gonna clean that end up. And then this is going to be 8 inches long. And then finally, this tube needs to be 17 inches long. So I'm going to cut off, both of these ends are kind of dead, so I'll and dilapidated, so I will cut that first, cut off the edge first, and then do that. Where did I learn to laser cut? YouTube and a lot of trial and error, basically. Like a lot of trial and error. Alright, so we're gonna control fit the screen so you can see it all. And then grab my laser cutter. Alright, now we gotta actually get it set up. So, in here there's obviously a bunch of stuff that I don't need right now. I just store all of the stuff in the laser cutter thing. So we gotta connect the air, that's the air inlet. And connect the air pump. I can remember which side goes where. Okay, gotta put that on. Now we need the actual power supply. Gotta plug that in. And then plug in the laser cutter itself. Don't need that. We will connect it in a second. I don't need the tube either because we're just in the garage with the garage door open and gonna vent it out. That is everything that goes in there. So now we take the keys and we plug them into the side right here. Turn them, flip the thing on, turn the e-stop. I can do it properly. On says me. The safety features included on this machine are oh, it is on. Okay. So there's magnetic switches at the front right here. These two red LEDs have magnets in them, and then there's magnets in the top so that if this lid is lifted or if this lid is lifted, there we go. It just took a second to turn on. If this lid is opened or this lid is opened, then it'll turn off. This is also laser glass acrylic, so you can't see through it. And then there's an e-stop right here on the side, right over here, right down there, which makes it so you can't, so if something goes wrong, you can just slam the e-stop and it'll turn off everything. I think that's it. I think that's all the safety features, but just overall, like safety in general, part of it is just the software too. Like it's really good at, it detects fires. It has a camera. This thing right here is a camera. So it can detect fires. It can detect literally all kinds of things. If it thinks the tool head ran into something, it detects that. It detects everything. This is the 20 watt Falcon Pro from Creality. So it normally has a screen that goes here, but I just had to plug it in. Normally this thing is $1,200. I got it on sale for I think $800 or about. And then the honeycomb bed inside it doesn't come with it. That's another 60 or 70, pun not intended. And then obviously you need the materials for it each time, which gets expensive. But yeah, I have this piece of scrap that we're going to be using to cut the laser things, or we're going to laser cut the bulkheads out of that piece of scrap. And if I need more, then I can get more. But we're going to, let me swap this so you guys can see what I'm doing on the software. So this is Falcon Design Space. This is where you actually design things. So we're gonna go over to camera. It says USB is connected, great. We're gonna take a photo of the inside. It wants me to, yep, there we go. Again, I'm gonna push, not again. It's griping. I pushed the tool head out of the way, so you can see it was in that corner right there. I'm gonna take another photo and wait for it to load. Great. Now we're going to go over to Fusion, where I have the rocket design, and I'm going to, these are two separate files, right? So I'm going to find the VXF, the sketch for this. I'm going to export VFX, take everything, or no, I don't. We're gonna export the VXF. We're going to turn off construction geometry, projected geometry, and the points. Excuse me. Dust. Then we're gonna keep it millimeters. And we're going to save this as star and stripe, aft, goal, CT ring, centered ring, and then it's saved in the star and stripe models, but I'm going to move it to just star and stripe. So we're going to save that. That's saved, and then we should be able to, how did I make it? Did I just add a holder, or? Okay, then we're going to go to analysis, because this one's slightly more complicated, the second centering ring. We're going to select the surface. Actually, we'll just turn off analysis. So you can see I have that whole surface selected, but just to show you, I'm going to turn off the whole entire transition, the nose cone, the reference, fin can, and the nose. So we're going to select the surface. We're going to apparently it won't let me get a DXF of that. What? Manage solid. Utilities. Okay, I think I can. No, what? They must have moved that. Interesting. I used to be able to just right-click it and get a DXF of that flat surface. Apparently that doesn't work anymore. I can insert a DXF, but it won't let me export one. That is weird. Okay. Well, to fix this, we're just going to essentially... Is that really not one? Oh, here we go. Okay. Silly me. We're going to export this, DXF. We're going to turn off construction, points, and the other. I was losing it for a second. It's been a minute since I designed this. A week, actually. Stars, and it was a really big star and stripe for CT ring, and we're going to save that. Now we're going to open a new design. We're going to import both those DXFs on the flat plane. Select the DXF from my computer. We're going to start with the F one. Wait for it to load. And it did not export the right thing. Of course it did. Okay, well, if we export or import the 4DXF, I believe this one should be correct. No, what? That's just a circle. Okay. What if I go ahead and select this, do that, 4 centering ring, 2 star and stripe, save this, go to this one, do the same, save, go here, insert. I don't know if it'll let me do that. I don't think it will, but I'll try. No. We will insert a mesh. Select on my computer. We'll go with the aft one. Okay. Insert this DXF. And we need the 4 centering ring. What? Z. What just happened? Okay, there we go. Now if we go here, we should be able to export this as a DXF. Another stream before Saturday. Let's see. I guess I could stream multiple times. Would you guys want to watch streams randomly in the week? Because I could stream. Let's see. I could stream on like Tuesday night to finish. I could paint this on Tuesday. So finish gluing it today and tomorrow. Paint it on Tuesday, and then we could fly on like Thursday or something. 3 live streams. Or that would be 2 live streams. I don't have to live stream painting it. Or I guess I could. I don't know. This is giving me a headache. So what I'm going to do is do this. Go to solid. Make a new sketch. And we're just going to remodel this DXF, I guess. Or remodel this sketch. So there's a hole there. A hole there. A hole there. Holes here, here, there, and there. Now, if we constrain this equal to that, that equal to that, that equal to that, this one here, that one there. Finally, this one here. Then, like I said, before we have the aft ring sketch, we can actually export this as the correct DXF. I'm pretty sure all of those things are fine now because it doesn't matter. Save it. That should be correct. Now when we import it in here, import, go to documents, product files, star and stripe, aft ring DXF. There we go. Alright, we will do that. And now what I'm going to do is simply, I'm going to go to layers. We're going to tell the machine that it is 6.3 millimeter plywood, which is a 1/4 inch. Then we're going to set the speed to be 300, set the power to be 100, set the number of engraving times to be 2. I hate that they make the numbers so small to see. This is going to be line cutting. Of course, it reverts it. 600, my bad, 300. Power is 100. Cutting times is 2. Then we're going to use absolute coordinates. And that's all good. We're going to hit autofocus, so it's going to go over here. Let me swap this so you can see. And oh yeah. Wait, why did it turn off this time? I did not have any issues with this last time. Oh, it's because the app froze again. Okay. Go back here. Open the app back up. Okay. Now you guys can see it? Okay, great. Alright, so what it did is it has a laser over in the corner that can shine onto a specific part, and it knows how big, I guess. It knows the thickness of the material by doing that somehow. I don't know, it's basically magic. It's not actually magic, but like, you know. Anyways, so back to the software. I'm going to just, instead of showing you guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit frame, and it's going to home. And then let me grab the camera real quick so I can show you guys. What it's going to do is it's going to home, and then it is going to, when I hit frame right here, oops, when I hit frame, it's going to home the machine, and then I believe the camera's upside down. It's going to use a very small amount of laser power to circle the spot that it's about to cut. You can see that that isn't going to be cutting anywhere in the way. So I'm going to tell it to start cutting, and we will see what happens. So I think it's starting with that top circle. That's hard to see, so we'll keep it right here. It's going to start with the top circle and then move on to all the rest of the circles. I don't think it's I think the issue is just that my phone, the app is kind of slightly stupid, which will be fixed if I had a colored, or not a colored, a dedicated camera that was plugged into the computer, because this is wireless right now, otherwise I wouldn't be able to move it like this. But yeah. Yeah, this thing can do engraving, it can do cutting, it can cut. So plywood is a bit harder because it's obviously hardwood plywood and it's got layers, but it can cut up to 10 millimeter basswood in one cut. It can cut like 5 millimeter plywood in one cut. It can do what else can it do? It can do like 8 millimeter acrylic in one cut. It can't engrave. I think it can lightly engrave metal, but that's about it. So 20 watts is pretty powerful. But yeah, it can definitely engrave though. I've engraved quite a few things. I'm gonna put this back though, so that I don't continue having to hold it and shake it, so you guys can see better. I think that's proper. Is that backwards? Do I have it backwards for you guys now? Yeah, it's upside down. Okay. Let me turn it upside right. All right, now while that does that, all right, now while that does its thing and it finishes cutting that out, I'm going to do the DXF for the second centering ring. All right, now it is, I think, cutting the second layer of all of those. Okay. Huh. It looks like it cut through all the way on the first try. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Oh, I see. I put it at 100% power when I should have had it at like 80% power. Because it's supposed to be, I think, 80, 300 to, or something like that. I had it at 100, which is fine. It just makes it cut faster. Well, not faster, but more power at once. But yeah. All right, so we gotta make this equal to all of those things. And then we can export that DXF. Export, we don't need any of those. Export, save, over here, import, perfect. All right, well, I'll see you later, Mindchi. Thanks for joining in, and yeah, stay curious, ignite skies. Yes, multitasking is definitely great. So when that's done, we can begin all the other things. So before how this is not glued in, I have a solution for that as well. So I guess we wait till that's done. The only issue with this is it does take a small amount of time. I'm gonna bump up the settings though to be 400 millimeters a minute. Should be almost done, I think. Maybe. Oh, it has another 2 minutes? What? Why does it say it has another 2 minutes? Is it just cutting the air now? I don't know if that will actually fit in there. Huh. Okay. I trust my numbers, kind of, sometimes, sort of. Alright, now I'm back. Alright, we've been live for 46 minutes, so we're kind of on track, but we shall see. There we go. Alright, it's done finally. Alright. So that is our first centering ring for this project. First, I'm going to see, before we cut the next one, we obviously need to see if these fit inside it, which they do. They're actually pretty loose. So I might shrink those up a bit because we want it to be pretty tight. So yeah, they're kind of loose, so I'll probably shrink that up a bit, that dimension. And then as for this, does it fit in here? It fits also kind of loose. It fits very loosely actually inside the tube. Too loosely. Alright, so before we cut the next one, we need to tighten up those dimensions. So we're going to go back to CAD, and we're going to go, we can close this untitled one because we don't actually need that anymore. But we will go into the original sketches for this, since those are all equal. Whatever we change, since the new sketches I made for the DXFs are equal to the original sketches, that means if I go back into the sketches and just alter the centering ring slightly, that it will change them both. So if I go into this sketch right here and I change all these 29.9s because they're a little big, so if I make it 29.5, we'll try 29.5, 29.5, and shrink it ever so slightly, then it should alter everything else. So okay, 29.5. And then we're just in sketch 11, so huh? Why is that set to 30.25? What did I do? This is why you don't work on CAD at 2 in the morning. Not that it's 2 in the morning right now, but when I was working on this, it was 2 or 3 in the morning. Okay. Let us turn back time, because you can do this fun thing where you just roll back the thing. Okay. Where is... Okay. So this was to do the things. That was that. That was that. Okay, so we'll go back in here. That should be 29.5, which it is. Great. Now, when we go into here, this should also be... Okay, so I just duplicated it and then added the thing. Okay, that doesn't matter. Which means then when we go into here, these should be only 3.8. That's correct. So those are fine. Which means if we fast forward all the way to here, where we combine the two, if I go in here, those are all equal, so those should be right. And this is also equal, so that should be right. Okay. Now when we go to the bottom and turn back on those files, we can then again go and export to the FX, turn off the geometries that we don't need, export it. It'll tell me if I want to overwrite it. I say yes. I will export that DFX, turn off the things, export it, save, yes. Now we go in here, we want to we're going to delete them because there's no update function, which is so stupid. But delete those, re-import them as this one and this one, open the files, move them to wherever. Believe I can go here and here, or there and there. So if we frame that, no, okay. Well, great. Alright, let's delete this for now and just remake the bottom one. If we go camera, and take a new photo, it should add that hole right there. You guys can see this, right? Yeah, okay. So that hole is there. So if we put this here, then we can go ahead and hit frame and check to see if it... Okay, it needs to move over slightly. Try framing it again. Alright, the dot goes everywhere I want it to go. Go back to layers, set the speed to 400, keep it at 100% power. Let's actually set it to 450 because it was cutting through this thing like butter. 2 passes, and start cutting. Oh, wait, pause. My bad. I accidentally just realized that I forgot to change one of the settings. So I set way back in the file. Do I not set? Wait, when do I? There we go. That's the thing. Oh. Wait, that is weird. Now I'm confused. Okay, well, it's 3 inches minus, let's go 0.05. $76.15. So, if we go back to this sketch and we go inspect the diameter of this, it should be 76.15. Okay. All right, now we can actually do this properly. So export DXF, turn off these random nonsense, do this, save, yes. Same for the aft ring. Export, turn off these, confirm, confirm, confirm. Back to Falcon Design Space. Import the aft ring. We will frame it yet again and try to get it in the right spot again. Perfect. All right, now we're actually going to cut this. Lord willing. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to figure out why it keeps turning off. I think the settings are messed up. Nope, I don't know. So, we shall just have to hope it stops doing this annoying nonsense. But you guys can see it, so that's all that matters right now. Alright, it is, looks like it's almost maybe done, halfway, kind of, sort of. Okay, in the meantime, instead of wasting your guys' time, I am going to cut the tubes. So, I was going to replace the laser cutter with the saw, but I'm not going to do that because then you guys will have to wait. So I'm just going to go and cut them myself. Alright, looks like it's done. I will be back in a half second. There we go. is done. All right, there is this ring. Now we test to make sure it fits. Of course it doesn't fit. Now the tolerances are too much. See why iteration takes forever? Same with this. Now it's too big to fit in this tube. Oh, okay. It barely fits in that tube, but barely. All right, so now we have to set that aside again. Go back to design software, iterate, and keep moving. So I'm going to go back into the file. Set it to be the proper, set it so it has some in between. Set that to be bigger again. They're not too gigantic. Now we're just going to inspect the diameter. Okay. And again, we're going to inspect this diameter. 29.5. Okay. That diameter is, section 2 diameter is 76.05. Okay, that seems correct. So now we can go back to the DXFs. Export. Again, turn off the nonsense we don't need. Do that again. Save. Yes. Right click. Export. Turn off. Turn off. Turn off. Okay. Yes. Save. Great. Now go back to Falcon. Delete. Control import. Which I don't know why control import doesn't work. Control I. But it doesn't. So import the aft ring. Now that spot is dead, so we will go to the camera, get another photo. Perfect. We're going to frame it. Okay, it works. Go back to layers. 450, 100, 2 times, perfect. Let's start cutting that. Then I'm gonna go back over here and finish and start cutting the things. Loud noise. Okay. All right. Just to let you guys know, there is going to be loud noises, so if you're wearing headphones, this is just a heads up. I'm going to be cutting these tubes, and that is going to involve some loud noises. Turn on the light. All right. Sorry, again, loud noises. All right, we have tube number 1 cut. Tube number 1 cut. Now we have to cut the motor tubes down to length. We need 3 of them. They're all 6 inches. Obviously, you guys will get yours pre-cut, but I haven't cut these yet. So, loud noise. Alright, now we have our 3 motor tubes. Now the last tube we need to cut is this bad boy right here. I'm going to go trim the ends, and then I can measure a full 17 inches. Alright, that is now a flat end. Sorry, I forgot to warn you about the loud noise. Tape measure. And then Sharpie. That looks like it's about half done laser cutting. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna go cut this for the last time. Loud noise. Alright. And I'm officially done with the saw, so you guys can put your headphones back on if you need. But there we go. That is really loose. Definitely gonna need some tape on that. Alright, that's better, but that is the nose cone on. Got sidetracked there. Why did it just not cut out one of the circles? Cut out the other ones, right? No, that's weird. It cut out the first one, but not the second one. How did I not realize that? Interesting. Okay, it'll still work. I can manually drill it, because that's just the hole for the, that is the hole for the motor retention. Why did it shut off again? Much. I wonder if it's because of the heat. My phone is pretty warm, but I don't think it's that warm. Okay. Is it actually working now? Great. Alright, yeah, so it's just completely missing that. Okay. But now we test a moment of truth. Alright, it fits inside there, and it's a little bit loose, but it's mostly fine. So that's acceptable. And then for these are the harder, more intensive bit. More important bit, rather. Can't tell if it fits or if it just... It's going to be tight if it does fit, so I should probably fix it. Alright. Yeah, it just barely does not fit. Dagnabbit. Okay. I am, instead of fixing that, no, I need to fix it now because I have to cut another one. Oh. See, iteration is so annoying. Because you want it to be a tight tolerance, but not that tight. Alright, we're gonna go 6. Was that not 29.5? So now we're gonna make it 29.6 because it almost barely fits. It just doesn't fit. I haven't read chat in a hot minute. Okay, 29.6. How long have I been streaming for? An hour and 10 minutes. Alright, well. Okay. I don't know why it didn't cut though. That's my question. If I go into the aft ring, is there even a hole there? I think somehow that ring got deleted, but okay. So now if we go in and inspect this one last time, we're at 29.6. Okay, we'll try it. Let's go ahead and export this DFX, deselect these things, save, yes, you, export, 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 save, yes. Okay, great. Now we can delete this, and then finally input the hopefully last revision. And this is gonna have to get placed really weirdly. But we'll try it right there. No, okay. So it does not fit there. Interesting, okay. What about over there? I would prefer to not have to cut. No, it doesn't. Alright, well, I need to go get another piece of material. So I'll be back in a quarter second. Alright, well, I am out of all of my full pieces of stock material, but I do have these fins. So funny story about these. I actually, for LDRS this year, I had designed my steampunk rocket, Skyforge, and my laser cutter was broken at the time, so I cut out an absorbent amount of these fins in the hopes that I would sell a bunch of Skyforge kits at LDRS. So I hand cut each of these fins. That way you can see they're not totally perfect, but I ended up not selling any. So that is disappointing, but that means I have these fins that I can laser cut now. So if you want, right now actually the entire store is 25% off for 4th of July, because rockets and 4th of July go great together. So if you want to pick up a Skyforge and actually make some of that work useful, feel free to. As always, like I said, everything is on sale. Everything that I personally manufacture is on sale. I can't put like the parachutes on sale or anything because I already have those. Basically, it's like I make almost nothing on them. Right? So definitely check out airdragonlabs.com. Everything's on sale right now. You can get pretty much anything for. You can get anything on there for a very decent price. Specifically right now, my Mini Zenith Expresses, I've got a bunch of those and I haven't sold a single one since I designed it. So you should definitely check those out because those are a really cool rocket. You can fly, you can design them, or not design them, you can build them in one day. Literally, you can, if you use super glue, you could build it in 10 minutes and fly it 10 minutes later. I wouldn't do that because super glue leaves a residue, but you could if you wanted to. So the cool thing about those is you can literally just take them out of the kit, put them together, wait for the glue to dry, and then once the glue is dry, you can just fly it. And they only take like the small Quest 24mm Quest motors, which you can order offline. So those are really cool. Definitely check those out. Check that airdragonlabs.com out if you are interested in that. Yeah, so this one should be done and dusted. The next revision of the being a jig is done. So that's cutting. Now I can do the next step, which would be gluing stuff together. Yeah, BT60 nose cones, that's what, 1.5 inch, I believe, or something like that. Anyways, yeah, I have rocket kits that are coming out soon that use the BT50s as the main body tube. I'm calling them classroom kits. The idea is that you can build it and fly it in a classroom setting, which is pretty useful. So, yeah, but the idea also is to make it way cheaper than Estes. Like the same rocket kit from Estes, for 10 of them, is about $120, whereas you can get 10 of mine for like $50. So that's cool in of itself. But yeah. All right. Yeah. So this is the transition. It is held together by these. Obviously, I can't glue that together right now because it won't be glued. It won't be dried by the time we need to build the rocket. So I have one that's already put together and glued. So this is the fin can, and we're going to take the motor tube, and the motor tube just gets glued into here. So I'm going to swap to this, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to use clear Gorilla Glue to just glue around the whole outside of this. You don't need a ton because between the body tube of this and this is a very tight fit, which means it will squeeze most of the glue out. So you just want to like give it a nice dusting to, or a nice thin layer of glue to actually just bond the pieces of plastic together. Or the plastic and the body tube, not two pieces of plastic. But yeah. So I'm just went around. You probably can't see that at all. Maybe in the sheen you can a little bit. But I just went around with some circles. There you go. Just putting some circles on it, and then I'm going to press it into here. There we go. And I need paper towels, so I'll be back in a second with some napkins. For printing material, I print exclusively in PETG. My favorite brand is Overture PETG. So all of my 3D printed rockets are just Overture PETG. I will print sometimes in TPU, but that's a completely different ballgame because that is flexible filament, and that's for like different types of projects. I'm working on a entirely TPU rocket, which will be kind of crazy because it'll be just like a floppy, flexy rocket. No, I'm not printing body tubes. I'm printing nose cones and fin cans for the body tubes. I still buy, so for the motor mounts for all of my 24mm kits, I use SD's motor mount, SD's BT50s. And then for the kits that, like the classroom kits that will use just a 1-inch tube, they won't actually be SD tubes because SD's tubes are about $3 if you don't have a good place to buy them. Like on average, they're $3. Sometimes you can get them for like $2.90. Sometimes I've found them all the way up to $5 each, which is ridiculous. It's like a 15 pack for $15 for a pack of 3. So I have found a tube place that will just sell tubes in bulk. So I'm going to order like 50 to 100 1-inch tubes and then use those 18-inch long 1-inch tubes to make rocket kits out of. That way I can make rockets way cheaper than SDs that are also just as cool. So yeah. So I press fit that into there. Now you've got a cardboard tube on the inside of that, and we can move on to the actual centering ring. This should hopefully now perfectly fit inside here, which it does. That's looking sick. And then using the motor mounts, please fit this time. Okay, it perfectly fits. Okay, that's good, that's good. It actually just like perfectly fits in there. It's really tight. So I'm gonna grab a piece of sandpaper so I can actually just rough up the inside of this and make it a little bit bigger, but it like perfectly fits. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, I have returned. Alright. It fits. I have this like metal rod that I have not super glued, but just like use double-sided tape to stick this sandpaper onto, and it works so well for getting inside circle things, like sanding the inside of tubes. It just works so well. So highly recommend that. All right, that is one sanded tube. Now these should fit actually perfectly. Yes, they do. Okay, they fit perfectly. It's like a nice tight fit, but then also they just fit perfectly well. So these will get glued in like that. 3. Like so. And then those will get glued in and you'll have a cluster rocket engine. All right, so I'm going to cut the next centering ring because you need 2. The aft section and the upper section centering ring. Control import. We want the 4 centering ring, and then I'm going to frame it. Perfect. And then we will start cutting that. Brilliant. Okay. While that's cutting, the next thing we have to do, I think, is actually glue these in. All right, so, oh, I did forget one thing. I need a eye bolt, so I'll go get the eye bolt. Alright, sorry about that. I totally forgot I needed an eye bolt and a shot cord to build a rocket. You'd think I would know that by now. But anyways, So you get a 1-inch eye bolt with the kit, as well as a washer and a nut. So 2 nuts and then a shock cord of an undisclosed length, because I haven't decided how much you guys need yet. This is 15 feet, so I'll probably just end up sending 15 feet, but I didn't actually do the math in my head yet as to what the rocket needs. So maybe it needs 20 feet, maybe it needs 15, I don't know. I might also upgrade the shock cord from a 300-pound Kevlar line to a 600-pound nylon flat 3/8. We shall see after it flies and we know everything. So that is done. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to sand the insides like I did with the top one. Right, that's that. Now we want to glue this thing together, obviously, so going to get that clear Gorilla Glue back out, going to glue around the bottom and just a nice little bead around the base, and once you have that nice bead around the base, you can take your aft ring and then just slide that onto there. I'm actually going to turn off the laser cutter real quick before I continue gluing this together, and I'm going to put it down, that way I can swap the camera back to the main camera, which is off right now, which I need to turn back on, but I'll do that in a second. I'll turn that back on in a second. Turn that off, switch, emergency, off, disconnect the air, disconnect that one, put the air compressor back into the machine, take the USB cord, put it back, take the main power supply, put it back, restart the camera. That's not the right app. Oh, wrong power supply. Almost unplugged my computer. Restart the camera. Wind up the, oh, there we go. All right, I'm gonna Control F that so I can fit nice and well. Finish wrapping up this. Put it in there. Put the hose back in. The screen, all of the accessories, the identification, calibration, thingamajig, and I think that's it. Alright, I can move this aside and have my workspace again. Nice. Alright. Zoom this in. All right, now that we have this again, you can see that I just glued that on. Now we're going to take the other 2 motor mount tubes that you get with the kit. Again, put a nice small dollop of a bead of glue around the base. Doesn't have to be too big, too thick. Just a small bead, thin bead. Going to press it into the thing, into the hole that it belongs in. Give it a slight twist. Make sure they're all nice and level. And then again, do that with the third and final tube. Like so. Now you can see that if I pick up the thing, you can see that there's 3 tubes in there. A nice cluster of 3, all pretty level. But in order to finish leveling them, we need the top piece. So we are going to take our centering ring along with our eye bolt, our secondary nut, and the washer someplace. And I'm going to unscrew it partially, put a dollop of glue. Let me zoom in more. Put a dollop of glue so unscrew this slightly, put a dollop of glue right there so that when I screw the nut back down, it will be permanently glued on. Like that. Now when I pop this through, it does not matter which side. When I pop that through, then I can, and you don't actually need the nut. I don't know why I brought up the nut, because you don't need it. You just put more glue on either of the 3s, on all 3 of the sides, right there, like so. Take your second nut and thread it on. You don't need the washer. You just need 2 nuts. But then when you thread this on here, you're left with a sturdy connection to your eye bolt. Then what you're going to do is, since these are all on here now and you can't easily put glue on them, but you can, you're going to take your glue and try to run it along the inside of these tubes. And when I say you can't put glue on those, I just mean it's harder. And we're going to try in a second, but you're just going to put a thin layer of glue along the inside of each of these holes. Sometimes it helps. This has a really long stick, so you can just put a dollop there and kind of like circle it around almost. And I find that works pretty well. It also wastes a decent amount of glue, but you just want to make sure all the surfaces have glue. Again, that's why I'm doing this over napkins, because it does drip some. Now I'm going to put that down real quick and pick this up, adding a small dollop of glue on the tube. But you want the majority of the glue to be on the centering, but if you also want a little bit right there. So put that right back down. Then you're going to put this. You're going to want to thread the motor tubes into their holes. It does take a little bit of finagling to get proper like, but it is definitely doable. There we go. Oop. Bit too much. Alright, now I'm just going to use my finger to clean up that glue around the rim. And then wipe my fingers on a paper towel. The nice thing about the clear Gorilla Glue is that it dissolves with alcohol. It's an oil-based glue, as far as I can tell. So it just rubs off and it leaves an oily film on your skin, but you can wash that off, or you can just use alcohol wipes and it comes right off. That's another nice thing about epoxy, is that it also dissolves with alcohol. So you can use alcohol to dissolve the epoxy, or you can use alcohol to dissolve this, which is super nice. So my skin is probably going to be fully allergic to it by the age of 22, but it'll be fine. So we're done gluing for now. We have a little motor mount of tubes, and I'm going to sit and let this dry actually overnight, so that then when I take the fin can, I can just glue this assembly into the fin can right there. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. But before I do that, I'm going to actually glue in the transition to the fin can. This is kind of a 2-day build. So what I've done previously is the fin can, if you're just tuning in, the fin can comes in 3 sections. And so what I did is I glued those 3 sections together onto this. Now when I take off the tape, you see we have one fully put together already, which is really nice. Doing this ahead of time. I did luckily have enough forethought to do that ahead of time. So this is going to get glued into here, like so. And you're going to want to line up the words Star and Stripe with the words of 250th anniversary. You want to line up that with the words Star and Stripe. So I'm just going to take the glue and put glue around the edges, all circling. I'm just doing a circular motion so you can see I'm putting glue around the entirety of the base, trying to spread it out, giving it a nice dollop, but also spreading it out enough that it goes pretty on there pretty well. And then that will just slide into here. And I'm doing a nice rotate. Oop, I put way too much glue on there. A nice rotation-y motion as I slide it on to get that glue nice and distributed. You can see if I pull it out, there's glue on absolutely all of the surface. I used way too much glue, but oh well. All right. I'm going to take a paper towel and run it along that edge. Definitely put way too much glue on there. But it's also a pretty tight tolerance, so you're gonna have squish out either way. That is a giant mess. So I'll do that in a second. I'm going to line up the words. Make sure they're truly lined up, because once this does dry, I will not be able to change it. Alright, that looks pretty lined up to me, I'd say. So that looks pretty lined up, wouldn't you? And then I'm going to set this here so that when I pack this up in a little bit after I end the stream, I'm going to move this downstairs so it can dry overnight. But in order to do that, I'm going to tape it on. That way it can't rotate at all. And this is just blue tape, painter's tape, which will come off. Even if I glued it to the rocket, it'll come off in the morning. That's really nice. A really nice thing about painter's tape is it doesn't stick to anything. Obviously it sticks to things, but for the most part, it doesn't stick to anything. It doesn't stick to this glue specifically though. I cannot speak if you soak it with epoxy like a composite. I'm pretty sure it would stick then. But I have glued many things with this in the past and it has not stuck. So I think it's fine. This is overkill. This is an overkill amount of tape. But you can never, better safe than sorry. Especially with this rocket, because I've spent so much time on this rocket already. Alright, that assembly is done. Like I said, tomorrow once the motor mount is glued in, then or once it's done drying, then I can glue this into the fin can. So what I'm going to do is take your shot cord. You're going to want to tie it around the eye bolt so you have a nice knot. Then you can thread the rest of this through the body so that you are left with a can I speak? That way you have your shot cord already inside the rocket when you glue this in, because it's kind of impossible to reach inside this super tiny hole to tie it to the eye bolt. So you have to tie it to the eye bolt beforehand. Yeah. And then I believe that is about it. This will be, actually no, we can glue this on right now. So this is the tube that gets glued onto this right here. So I'm gonna glue that on right now, I guess. Again, take your glue. I'm gonna scooch this aside and I'm gonna lay this down. Take your glue and give it a nice dollop on this collar right here. All right, now I'm going to slide the tube over it. And there was almost no squish out because I made the tolerances on this tube not great. So I'm gonna add actually a little bit more. Funny how that works. This tube is not the tube that you guys will get. The tube you guys will get will be slightly different. This is essentially a random tube that I had. I think it's from Joann's, but the tube you guys will get will be a tube from Lock Precision. So it'll be much more precise and the same each time. This tube, I've got like 10 of these and all the dimensions are slightly different. But they're good for testing, so that's what I use them for. So, like I said, you just want to glue that on, same process as before. Put glue all over the collar or the shoulder, and then slide on the tube. The rotation of this tube does not matter too much because it's just a circular tube. That's it. But, I mean, you can always make stuff better, so. All right, and then again, I'm going to tape this on. Just like I said, it doesn't need to not rotate, but I do want it to stay vertically on in the Z-axis. So I'm going to tape the section right there, stop it from coming apart. And that is nice and sealed on there. So you can see we have the majority of our rocket done already. That is the majority of Star and Stripe. Then obviously we have the nose cone, which will go on top. A nice red nose cone with a white tip. That'll go on the top of her. And then, yeah, that is most of Star and Stripe. Obviously we will paint it later, but that is a task for the next day after I've glued in the motor mount and everything else. So check out airdragonlabs.com. We've got everything on sale right now for the 4th of July. You don't want to miss out on that because I won't have another sale for a long time, probably till not till Black Friday. Definitely make sure to pick up all the kits you want, especially Mini Zenith Express. That one's really cool because you can build it and fly it in a day and then just fly it in your backyard if you have a big backyard, or go to a small park. So check out airdragonlabs.com. Click the link in the description below if you want to join my Discord or my newsletter, because I send out all kinds of news and announcements in there about Air Dragon Labs, new products, new kits, new behind the scenes content. Obviously subscribe so you can see more live streams and videos from me. And then stay curious and ignite the skies.